There's a chaotic situation playing out right now in New York as the state is still trying to finalize its new map of congressional districts. So last month, the Court of Appeals for the state struck down a map drawn by Democrats, ruling that the maps violated a state ban on partisan gerrymandering. And as I noted, unlike in states like Ohio, where Republicans in power have simply decided to run roughshod over the courts, New York Democrats are basically just sucking it up and obeying this ruling. That has left them scrambling, with candidates still unsure where they're running and the congressional primary postponed until August. Now, on Monday, the court-appointed special master released a revived draft map that threw everything into further disarray. Because under the newly proposed lines, longtime members in House leadership, Jerry Nadler and Carolyn Maloney, would be pitted against each other in the same district. And in the wake of this new map, we've seen action from one member of Congress that I have to say is among the most egregious political malpractice I think I've ever seen in my life. So here's the deal. Democratic Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney represents New York's 18th district. He's also the chair of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, known as the DCCC. That's a big job. And his job is to help Democrats win midterm elections this year. He's tasked with helping fundraise and message and strategize, particularly for Democrats in tough races in frontline districts. That is a really, really hard job, and I do not envy him, and I praise him for taking it on. It's kind of thankless, okay? Now, in this new draft map, the 18th district that Sean Patrick Maloney currently represents has been redrawn. On the left, you'll see the district as it's been since 2012. On the right is a new proposal, but basically covers around 70% or more of Maloney's current constituents. It's still his district. Now, here's the thing. This new version, which has more than 70% of his current district, no longer includes his actual home, though members of Congress are not required, we should know, to live in their districts. In 2020, the 18th district that Sean Patrick Maloney represents voted for Joe Biden by 5 points. The newly redrawn version would be a bit more favorable to Democrats, backing Biden by 8 points. Okay. Within half an hour of this new map being released, Sean Patrick Maloney announces on Twitter that if the maps are finalized, he will abandon his current district and run instead in the neighboring redrawn 17th district. But the 17th district already has a sitting Democratic member of Congress. His name is Mondaire Jones, young black man, freshman, now facing a primary from the head of the DCCC, the person whose job it is to keep the Democratic majority by winning difficult races. According to Politico, as the draft map currently stands, that 17th district is an easier one for Democrats. It supports Joe Biden by 10 points. 2 points more favorable for Democrats than the 18th that Sean Patrick Maloney now represents. But rather than putting his money where his mouth is and running in the slightly harder district, Sean Patrick Maloney is abandoning it, even though he says he is only shifting districts because of where his home is.
I'm the only sitting member who lives in the district, which is now numbered New York 17, which remains a competitive district, by the way, that we have to win in the fall. From my point of view, I'm just running where I landed.
Okay, but maybe you could have waited more than 25 minutes to announce that, A. B, you don't have to run living in the district. And C, your decision still puts a freshman Democrat at risk, right? Like, you're going to primary this freshman Democrat. Who's going to run the 17th? And that decision has prompted a lot of criticism. Today, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called for Maloney to resign as chair of the DCCC if he primaries his freshman colleague. She called the decision, quote, terrible, hypocritical, adding that it absolutely further imperils our majority. Mondaire Jones told Politico, quote, Sean Patrick Maloney did not even give me a heads up before he went on Twitter to make that announcement, and I think that tells you everything you need to know about Sean Patrick Maloney. Now, I should say, for full transparency, as I've said before, my brother works for the representative from the 16th district in New York, Jamal Bowman, who is also implicated in all this chaos. Because it's possible, in the face of a primary from Maloney, Mondaire Jones can move to the 16th district and primary the incumbent there, who is Jamal Bowman. And to be honest, I try very hard to keep clear of this conflict, so hard that I normally don't even talk about anything that has to do with Jamal Bowman that much. I don't like to discuss anything directly involving that congressman because my brother worked for him. But this is such an outlandishly egregious thing to do. I seriously cannot believe it. Now, there are a few things that might happen. Tomorrow, the draft map's supposed to be finalized. Maybe some revisions before then. Or maybe Sean Patrick Maloney will be embarrassed by the fact that he looks like he doesn't have the courage of his own convictions, could decide to remain in the 18th district and hold the seat for the Democrats. We invited him to come on the show, Congressman Maloney, to talk about redistricting in New York because, you know, where I'm wrong, I'd love to be corrected. His office told us he's traveling today and tomorrow and referred us back to the comments the congressman made earlier this week.